Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2 are the dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, two-time Best in Show and two-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2 with dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, two-time Best in Show and two-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2 with dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, two-time Best in Show and two-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2 with dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, two-time Best in Show and two-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2 with dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, two-time Best in Show and two-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard Kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard Kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
Friday night, fellas.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard Kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird.
Chat dog man tonight.
So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
And how hard it is to do, we sure don't want to talk about it.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard Kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird.
And we got a lot of dog men in the room. And we're looking for a little
So
bit
pull
of
up a seat,
help to chat.
and let's talk dogs.
Just to see if it's possible to actually pull this off.
Let's talk about pit bulls.
Actually
The
successfully
history, the
being
breeding,
done
the maintaining and feeding,
today.
and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present.
And we'll see you shortly.
Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard Kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs. Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Brat, the very first champion off-brand champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird.
Oh yeah! What's up, fellas? Friday. Hear them dogs. That fresh water. Them. Break up all that shit. Check the chains, check the collars. Then today must be a good day. No accidents. Hope everybody had a good week. Thank you for coming out. I had to jam that beat a little bit, y'all. Get me into the flow of shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm here with y'all now. You know what I'm saying? Hello, hello, hello. What's up, chat room? Feeling the love? How that sounding out there? Give me a thumbs up if it's sounding good, guys. Ain't like I'm pinging over here. Wanna make sure I ain't pinging. Dave, check 1, check 2. Microphone checker. Go about your dog, man. This dog running around here chasing his tail in the middle of the show. Camera Jimmy, do we got an extra cameraman over here to check this shit out? Don't come here. Out. Back in this. What's up, fellas? Who's in the room? Let me see. I can see who's in the room. You know what we're talking about today, fellas? We're going to talk about preservation of a bloodline. We're going to first get some definitions and understanding before we get into this, so we make sure everybody is going to be on the same page, okay? Putting up the chat room, guys, so I can see who's in the chat room. Okay, is it possible you have a real line bred JOCKO G REDBOY Eli making pit bull today? A real line bred Eli JOCKO REDBOY G. Good question. I'm gonna have to say no. The reason why I'm gonna say no, this is why I said we're gonna go through the understanding of what the line breed is. Okay? If we're talking about preserving Jeep, there's a difference between Jeep and Kobe. Okay? Now everybody understand this. I hear guys saying they got Kobe dogs. They got the Kobe line. So is there the same understanding of the Kobe dogs compared to the Jeep dogs? It is. I mean, if somebody understands that, then this won't be a hard task, because Kobe is a breeder's name. Jeep is the name of a dog. A point made, right? So let's get that part understood. We're not trying to preserve Kobe's name. And what particular dog are we talking about when we want to talk about preserving a Kobe dog? What dog of Kobe are we trying to preserve? What part of the Kobe and which dog are we trying to preserve compared to, let's go to Jeep. Okay, Jeep, we clearly understand there's nothing but Jeep, not another dog with the name or James Crenshaw dogs or nothing like that. It's Jeep. The dog, Jeep. How do you preserve a line from Jeep? A purebred line of Jeep. Understand that. Because that's what we're talking about when we say preserving the line. Not the breeder. Boudreaux. I have Boudreaux dogs. Okay. Are you trying to preserve the Boudreaux dog line? Because there is many of those Boudreaux dogs. But what dog in the Boudreaux line are you trying to preserve? Or are you trying to preserve the name? How do you preserve the name? Well, I got my dog in the 6th generation from Floyd. And I've been breeding these 2 dogs I bought from Floyd in the offsprings all the way up the line. So at some point, they're no longer Boudreaux dogs. Yes, he got those first 2 he started with, and he can breed them because he got them from Floyd. He can bring them right on down the line. They are still Boudreaux dogs, but they're not really, because they should be his dogs now. There's another name, his name on the line now. What? We got to go back 6 generations, with maybe 12 now, to see Floyd Boudreaux's name, because it's not going to be his name 20 years from now with this dude breeding those same 2 dogs in the offsprings strictly off those 2 dogs. Now, they may carry the genetic makeup of the dogs that he bought from Floyd through all these years, but they're no longer Floyd Boudreaux dogs. They're really his dogs. His name. Unless you can give me a pedigree with Floyd Boudreaux from 6 to number 1, that's a Floyd Boudreaux dog to me. Same with Kobe. You want to use Kobe's name? Then you give me a whole pedigree full of Kobe, and I tell you that's a Kobe dog. But that's it. Where's the line? There's no such thing as a line when you take the breeder out of it and put a dog on it. There is no line. Unless you're talking about the Kobe line, that means the Kobe kennel and all the dogs off that yard. Then that was a Kobe dogs. But there's not a particular genetic makeup of a line that we can consider pure when we're talking about a breeder. There's no way. Okay? Same with Floyd. Unless you got Floyd Boudreaux all the way down through there, we're talking about Boudreaux dog. We're not talking about a particular dog like Bully's son or Eli or one of those dogs. No, we're talking about Floyd Boudreaux. How you gonna tell me you're gonna have a line, a genetic line of Boudreaux dogs? And we're still talking about a person and not a particular genetic dog. Like Bully's son, like Jeep. So let's get that part understood before we start having this conversation as far as preserving a line. What line are we talking about? We want to talk about the dog preservation, or do we need to start about using the breeder's name as a preservation of a line from the breeder's kennel and call that preserving a line? But what we're talking about, a line of dogs. No particular genetic makeup in there, nowhere outside the fact that they came from Floyd Boudreaux's yard. That's it. So now we got that part understood, and let's talk about the dogs now. Like Bully's son, like Jeep. How do you show me a preserved Jeep line? Didn't say adding REDBOY, none of that. Tell me, is there any possible way anybody out there can have a pure Jeep dog? Is it possible? Understanding what it would take to be a pure Jeep dog. We ain't adding REDBOY, we're not adding Rascal, we're not adding anything, but we want a pure genetic Jeep dog. That means everything in that bloodline should be related at some point, everything off the Jeep. That's a pure Jeep dog. So when we say, I got a Jeep, a pure Jeep line, are we getting the meanings crossed again? Understand what I'm saying? See, when we start adding, it changes the equation. You know, I still hearing guys saying Jeep, REDBOY, Rascal, Bolio. You know, I keep hearing these additives. Okay, now, my question to all you guys when it comes to that is preservation. You may have these group of dogs, but it's so easy to say, you know, it's not hard to preserve that group of dogs. It's not. All you got to do is make sure that you breed one of these dogs out there that's got the dog in the bloodline, and you can continue saying what you're saying. And as you keep crossing these different lines together, what are you creating? No Pacifics. There's no Pacifics. A Pacific becomes when he becomes Jeep REDBOY, and now we have Tab. Okay? We can call Tab a Jeep Red Boy dog, but then at that point right there, if you want to have a pure Tab dog who is Jeep Red Boy, okay? That means that everything that you come off of this dog, whether it be a daughter or a son, they'll go down in generations producing dogs between them back and forth, or any other dog that was bred off of Tab, that was bred back into a line of Tab, a whole line of Tab. And now we're talking about preserving the Tab line. That's a pure Tab dog. Making him a pure Jeep Red Boy. That's pure Jeep Red Boy. But he's a Tab line. It's a Tab dog. It's no more Jeep Red Boy once the acquisition only going to relate back to Tab. Everything after that is going to be Tab. You're going to go way up there, 20 generations, and still call this dog Jeep Red Boy, knowing the dog's whole pedigree is Tab. No, you're going to call the dog Tab line, a Tab dog. I hope everybody's getting along with this and understanding that. I'm pretty sure if there's any questions you guys want to throw out there, please ask them, because this is something I've been noticing that, that has become like the old family red nose situation. When we start, we don't put pure in there nowhere, guys. Nothing pure about anything when you start adding a lot of things. You just got to pure a lot of thing crosses. Okay? Because that's exactly what it is. It's not a Pacific. Unless you're using those Pacific dogs. Understand? It's not hard to keep a Red Boy Jeep Rascal dog. It's not hard. I can go out and grab any Rascal dog and breed to that, and I'm still gonna have a Jeep Rascal dog. I'm gonna add me some Jeep, I go breed to a Jeep dog. But what is the bottom of that Jeep dog? Is that a pure Jeep dog? No. Can we cross with something else? So we can't say I took a pure Jeep Red Boy dog and bred to my Jeep Red Boy dog and consider that pure. Because there's no relationship unless he's a Tab, because it stops with the production and the name, because if you don't have a name, what's the purpose? I mean, we still got guys running around calling Kobe dogs, but then we still have guys running around some Mayday dogs. Or they call yellow dogs still Yellow John JOCKO dog. No, it was Yellow John JOCKO dog was not pure. Pure what? Pure what? Okay? The pureness started with yellow. When yellow started producing. We still talk about Mayday, and we can still talk about yellow, even though yellow produced Mayday. So why was the Mayday the line? We don't even say. Sound is okay. It's cracking.
Mic check one. Yeah.
Mic check one, mic check.
Okay, mic check.
Can't hear you, no sound. One. How's that, fellas? Am I back?
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Here we go. Mic check. Here we go.
All right, fellas, am I back? Am I back, guys? I need, just give me a thumbs up if I'm back. Clear, thank you. Thank you, Mike Lee. Hey, Dread, what's up, baby? I was just reading this post. You said, well, that's impossible because Jeep don't exist without Tab and Tramp. Well, listen to what you just said. Come on now, Dread. I know what you're trying to say, so I'm gonna take it like what I think what you was trying to say was Tab wouldn't be without Jeep. Okay? That's what you said actually said. You know what I mean? Tab would not be without Jeep in the REDBOY cross. That's true. But what did that make Tab? A Jeep REDBOY dog. Okay? Now, that means everything coming off by way of Tab, the Jeep REDBOY dog, starts with Tab. The Jeep REDBOY dog starts with Tab. Is what I'm saying. In particular, we're putting a name to the dog and not a kennel, not a bunch of yarder dogs, but to a direct dog. Tab is a pure Jeep REDBOY dog, even though it does not come directly off a REDBOY. Y'all taking the REDBOY line because the dog was a deep REDBOY dog cross, but was the dog bred the Jeep completely REDBOY, where everything coming off of REDBOY was bred all the way up to the breeding to Jeep? The only possible ways can be pure REDBOY. You understand? Because REDBOY was not the father to Tab. Jeep was. So when we're talking about this preservation and preserving, I'm getting deep into the details because you got too many categories when we're talking about that, especially when I'm hearing so many guys saying they got pure this and pure that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to get this understanding for the young guys as well. And as again, I'm going to make sure you older guys got on, understand it. Because I'm making points, like I said, Mayday and Yellow. Yellow is a REDBOY JOCKO cross. But is he pure JOCKO? And is Yellow John pure REDBOY? I mean, everything coming off of REDBOY, whether it be daughter or son, at some point, they're crossing these two lines of, everybody's coming off of REDBOY. REDBOY's daughter being bred to REDBOY's son, taking that puppy, those puppies there, still breeding that same old line of dogs. Everybody's still coming by way of REDBOY. There will be nothing else in there but descendants directly off of REDBOY. Not a quarter cross, not a 50-50 cross, not a 1/8 cross. When we're talking about pure preservation of a particular dog, not kennel, not a name, but a particular dog. Yellow was a REDBOY JOCKO line. He wasn't pure or nothing. Okay? Yellow becomes the pure, like Tab becomes the pure. Pure Tab. Start all over now. We got to preserve the Tab blood. So when somebody says, I got pure Tab in my line, well, you got pure Tab, but you got a line that can't be pure. You just got pure Tab. What did you breed that pure Tab dog to? Then it becomes a Tab, whatever, cross. Ain't nothing pure about that cross. Okay? You could not even say that you are preserving the Tab breed cross line. You're not preserving the Tab line when you make that breeding. There's nothing pure about that litter pertaining to Tab. Preservation of a line has to be understood. You can't have a pure Mayday dog unless every one of them dogs in that pedigree, by some means, is a descendant directly off Mayday. Top and bottom. Nothing else. You can't go grab a Mayday's son and breed him to Boyle's dog and then drop him in there and call that pure when it's not. Okay? Just getting an understanding. Preservation of a real line. Is it possible? Is it possible? Now let's see how to vote, because what it shows me is there's a misunderstanding in what we consider a preservation of a pure line. A line of dogs. To what dog is it supposed to be related to pure? Be a good conversation piece. I'm gonna go back in these chats and look at see if anybody can say something about it. There you go. James Jones, James Jones got it. Kobe had a family of dogs. That's right, not a line. Carver also, as well as Floyd. Add Bert Sorrell to the list. Growing Hard Kennels, reload. Yes, James Jones, you get it. So is this a such thing as having a pure Kobe dog? Yeah. Yeah. Because as long as he's coming up in the Kobe yard, he's going to be a pure Kobe line dog. Okay. Well, I did not say, who said anything about there would be nothing? Pierre Jackson. Pierre Jackson, here's your question. You see, no, it's not even a question. Here's a point. You said there would be no Tab or Tramp without Jeep. Do I need to alliterate on your question, on your statement? Because somewhere in there, you're not on my statement. Where in the I say anything about Jeep and Tab, being we all know Jeep is Tab's daddy. But what we're talking about is the preservation of Jeep. Okay, but that ain't no pure Jeep dog. My point. It stops right there. There ain't no more pure to that. Tab is the next step. With the connection between Jeep And the red boy bitch that created Tab becomes a Tab dog. Why? Because Tab produced dogs. And Tab is the Jeep red boy dog. What does Jeep alone have to do with this conversation as far as preserving a pure line? Paris, just asking. So, man, you can get on the same track, because right now we're not on the same track. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Jeep, taking Jeep out the equation takes Tab out the equation. That's like 1 + 1. Take the 1 away, there's no formula or equation. So the point is like, where do we ever take Jeep out at? I said, you're gonna have, there's nothing pure about the cross. What's pure about it? You took a Jeep red boy dog and bred them together. If I can do any Jeep red boy dog and do that, what's pure? That's my question. What we preserving here? We can do that with any of them. We're talking about that dog that's worth talking about. Because we're not going to be talking about what's the name of them dog and he never done nothing. We're going to always relate back to Tab and his accolades and what put his name on the map. Well, we can call him a Jeep red boy dog. Pure Jeep red boy is what you're trying to say, but Jeep was not pure what? He was just Jeep. The mama wasn't off a red boy, so it sure as hell wasn't no pure red boy, because red boy was not the daddy, the Tab. I don't know how the bottom was right off hand, but I can tell you, unless the mama came off a Tab and the daddy to the mama, off a red boy, and the daddy to the mama was off a red boy, then I could call that a pure red boy dog, because both the dame of the mother and the sire were both off a red boy. We know Jeep wasn't off a red boy, and what's pure Jeep? Jeep. Pure you can get when you want to say Jeep. Jeep is pure Jeep. That's it. When we're talking about preserving and trying to maintain a pure Jeep dog. I'm not talking about Jeep, we're talking about Tab now, because we got a cross between Jeep and a red boy dog. So whatever Tab has to talk about in the 20 years later, as long as they keep breeding dogs that was come directly off the Tab, that will be a pure Tab dog, not no pure Jeep red boy. Because you got to start with the fact that Tab is the Jeep red boy dog. He's the pure dog here. Why would we even want to waste our time and say Jeep red boy when we just to relate the fact of the matter to Tab? A Tab line of dogs. Pure Tab is what I call preservation of a line. And understanding the clear points to these other categories that you try to add into that pure preservation, I'm throwing out the trash and giving you straight to what it is. That's all. Point made. That's all I'm trying to make. It could go with, remember, we're not talking about the kennel name, Kobe, like you said. We ain't talking about them. We're talking about a Pacific dog. Did we call yellow and Mayday pure? But we can say we got a pure yellow dog, because every dog in my pedigree was coming off the yellow. I can have a pure Mayday dog if every dog in my pedigree was sired by Mayday. Hey, Rubber City, Mike said he was trying to actually pin your message and he accidentally deleted it. You go ahead and put it back up for us, okay? He was trying to pin it up. Hey, Paris, I hope I answered your question. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't a question, it was a statement. I mean, it goes for tramp too. I mean, unless you're talking about a pure tramp dog, I won't even see why Jeep would have, and the Red Boy breeding would have nothing to do with nobody no more than tramp. So I'm going to say a Jeep Red Boy, I'm the only dog I can be relating to, pertaining to a pure dog, Jeep Red Boy with a name, but I would be having to refer to Tab. I mean, did that mean because Tab was a great Jeep Red Boy dog that everybody who has a Jeep Red Boy dog got to be the same criteria of Tab? No, there's no preservation in that shit. We can't even mix the two. I know that's obvious, right? I know y'all ain't that far off the tracks, are you? Preservation has to relate to something specific when it comes to genetics and preserving a line of dogs. Too many of y'all saying that pure shit, and it's not. First, understanding preserving something pure means keeping it pure. Don't add no baking soda. You know, that's all it means. When we're talking about preserving a pure line, is it possible? Rubber City, you did it again. You did him again. You got 3 of them out there. Delete it. Rubber City, he is, I don't know what he over there trying to do, B, but he is definitely apologizing, okay? Hey, Dre, I got you, B. Hey guys, I'm trying to catch up on the chats, okay? I'm sorry. But and I hope I'm not missing any of y'all questions. Paris Jackson, you got it, baby. Thank you. Yes, and Dred, you're right. You know, like you said, heavy on this and heavy on that, or relate to the dog that's actually the factor in the pedigree anyway. It's always boiling down to, it don't mean nothing until there's a reason. If it has no reason, then it has no meaning. But when we're talking about great dogs that create their own pathway, Yellow had his own pathway. Red Boy had his own pathway. But to have a pure Red Boy dog, you have to have a pure Red Boy dog. So when y'all guys say pure line, I got a Jeep Red Boy Rascal. I got a pure Jeep Red Boy Rascal dog. I have a pure Jeep Red Boy Rascal dog. Anybody can preserve that because anybody can preserve that because all we have to do is just make sure we got it. Is the Jeep part pure? Is the Red Boy part pure? Is the Rascal part pure? Because that's the only way, okay, that you can preserve a true, pure Jeep Red Boy Rascal dog. And that would have to go for everybody who tries to you know, they're going to have to probably, for them to have the yards that you got, if you got that, then they would have to have the same thing. Y'all would have to have damn near half brothers and sisters to have all that shit to be pure, to bring them all 3 of those dogs together. I'm saying I got a pure Jeep dog I bred to a pure Rascal dog that I bred to a pure Red Boy dog. Okay, that's the only way. When you want to preserve a line, and put anything preserved into it, it has to be pure. If I'm going to preserve something at its purest form, a diamond, then I can't add nothing to it and expect it to carry me generations down the line when I've already changed it from the start. It's not a pure diamond anymore. Okay, hold on. Do you prefer a good Waccamaw dog going hard or Jeep REDBOY dog? My prefer, what I prefer, you already know I'm gonna prefer going hard, dog. That's what I'm using. Give it down, you know, that's for real. That's for real. Yeah, okay, let me, let me answer, let's see. Eli Fancier, this is what he said. He asked me, do you prefer a good Waccamaw dog going hard or a Jeep REDBOY dog? I would prefer a going hard dog because he's on my yard. And I'm betting on mine. I'm gonna bet on mine before I bet on anybody's shit. Because the day come, I'll go into them too. You know, the better dog wins. It just depends on the dog. Waccamaw might have one better than me. I might have one better than him. The preference is the fact that I'm using what I'm using to go into Waccamaw, like Waccamaw using what he got to go into me. You know, the win and lose numbers, it's all about, it's any given day, you know. But preservation will be, you know, at some point, can we go through our yards and just match nothing but our yards and see who comes out on top? We can never line up weights, we line them all up and just keep doing them. One thing for damn sure, are we preserving the line to be at its purest form? If we're making particular breedings, like he has Big John and everything's coming right off of Big John, I got Mayday and everything I got is coming directly off of a son or a daughter off of Mayday, and then we putting them together to see if we can preserve these lines to be better dogs. Because that's the only way we're going to figure it out, by doing what we're doing back and forth. So by the time we get done tearing up each other's yard and cleaning it up and doing and becoming so competitive that I'll be wanting some of his shit and he's going to be wanting some of mine. Because between all that, we have definitely made the lines better. Because at some point, he might not beat me. But at some point, I might not beat him. The numbers will tell what we putting down because we're both great kennels. So, you know, I prefer, now when you say Jeep REDBOY, see, you took two kennel names and put in there with a Jeep REDBOY. Jeep REDBOY is not a kennel name, Mr. Eli Fancy. So I can't say. Well, Waccamaw, really, they had a line of dogs. They did have but they were Waccamaw dogs, yeah. But maybe I got that wrong, Eli. But you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, you know, do I prefer a Waccamaw over a Jeep REDBOY dog? I'm gonna be honest with you. Waccamaw in itself is a kennel name. Again, Jeep REDBOY is a line of dogs. So it's like saying, what line of Jeep REDBOY dogs are we going to be talking about going in this particular kennel name? You see what I'm saying? There's so many Jeep REDBOY dogs out there that, you know, that's like whoever got a Jeep REDBOY dog that's a kennel, they have to match their Jeep REDBOY dog to this kennel. I'm gonna be betting on Walkmore all the way unless you got a name. Cause basically I'm gonna bet with the name. I ain't gonna bet with the Red Boy Jeep shit. I'm gonna be betting with the name. And I don't know who these Jeep Red Boy dogs coming from. Remember, these Jeep Red Boy, they can come from any one of them kennels out there. I'm gonna be betting on kennels. Who is this kennel going in the Walkmore? Okay? That's how I look at it. I would prefer Walkmore over Jeep Red Boy unless you give me a kennel who got some good Jeep Red Boy dogs that can match up to Walkmore. I'm bet my money on Walkmore. Keeping it real with you. They actually take their line of dogs and they take them out there. I never said they never put their dogs down. Why they're able to continue having good dogs. I ain't gonna call them great. But for the years that they put in, I can definitely call them good. Definitely. And we'll bet with them any day. Any day. Especially if, you know, when it comes to matching kennels, I'm going to go with the big kennel all the time. Until two big kennels clash, then I'll start scratching my head. But other than that, I'm going to tell you, the majority of great kennels are going to always win. Nobody's going to go undefeated, but that's not the numbers. The numbers is the money. How much money am I making compared to what I'm losing? You know what I'm saying? And if I can't get a line of dogs to fix that, then I need to get out the game. Because those numbers is what matters. The preservation of what's winning for you matters. It all starts with you, your great dog. The whole thing starts with you. Mom and daddy produced a great dog. Mom and daddy did. Now, how was mom and daddy bred? Were they bred directly off of Mayday? Then they would be purebred Mayday dogs at some point. But the only thing that we have in relation is this great dog that we're talking about now. And it would be that great dog who starts producing great dogs who will pick up the name, not Mayday. It would be the dog who was bred to Mayday that produced him, whether it was a pure Mayday dogs that produced this dog. This dog is a pure Mayday dog, whether his name is Cha-Cha or Chi-Chi, whatever, he becomes that point of preservation. He does not. He has to be bred to continue having the Mayday purebred line. He would have to be being bred to dogs coming directly off of Mayday. I'm talking about purebred bitches. Purebred bitches make purebred dogs, purebred lines, preservation. And you know it's almost literally impossible to do that unless you're literally doing it from the start and you are the one doing it. Not breeding to nobody outside. You got this particular part of the yard where everything on this side of the yard is off of Mayday. Everything on this yard that I'm breeding over here is off of Mayday. I mean, I have a pure line of Mayday dogs over here. But that don't even become great and pure until after the fact. What'd you do, Mike? You didn't again.
Hey, man, Rubber City, man. Bro, I am so sorry, bro. Damn, I didn't mean to put you in timeout, man.
Rubber City. I don't worry, baby. I got you, baby. I got you, man. He didn't mean to put you in timeout, baby, but don't worry, man. You know, you're back on the court, baby. They got you out of the penalty box, bro. You're definitely apologizing. Okay, it says, what's your opinion on the little black family continuation of the Mims line of dogs? What are the blocks? Let's talk about the Mims dogs and the LeBlancs. Give me a dog and let's go in and analyze it. Let's start with that because that's a good one. because we're talking about MIMS and not a particular dog. Okay, we jump right back on Kobe. So let's talk about what particular dog of the MIMS dogs would we even consider preserving. Not the name, but what dog. Because it's really, to me, it's not boiling down to the kennel name, fellas. I'm not trying to preserve the going hard name. My line of dogs. Remember, the question was related strictly to the dogs, if you noticed. Strictly to the dogs, not the kennels. Strictly to the dogs, because it's the dogs that matters, fellas. It's that genetic makeup that where you don't see it all the time. Like you had Jeep could produce dogs that produce that, produce dogs that produce. See, that's preserving. Whether it's a not pure, but it's got enough of the Jeep in it to preserve that continuation that was able to be passed down from Jeep to Tab to Blackjack. Just keep on going down. I mean, from Gator to Blackjack, okay? All those things leads back to Tab. All right? That's my point. You could be adding shit in there, but if the majority of what you're trying to preserve relates to that type of pattern. I just did it with Jeep. I just did it a few minutes ago with Yellow John. Yellow John, Yellow, Mayday, and all them other dogs off of Yellow. I'm just gonna ride with Mayday because Mayday had a continuum. That means Mayday was able to produce dogs that could produce and win. That produced dogs that could produce and win. Okay? That's a preservation of a genetics that I'm talking about. Not adding, because I want to go to this guy with his pure shit, even if he's got this 1/8 or something out. I want his shit because I'm trying to get that stronghold that made that shit work, just like with Buck. If you notice, guys, in every single one from Honey Bunch to Awesome Baby to Jeep to Yellow to Honey Bunch, if y'all look at their pedigrees, A1's pedigrees, they were all bred great dogs. And they had a genetic makeup that could reproduce. That's what I'm trying to preserve. So when I say preserve, this is what I'm trying to preserve. I ain't trying to add something. I ain't trying to change it. I'm trying to preserve exactly what I got right there. So when I choose to step out and put something there, it's by my making of my choices to see if it makes it better or worse. But I want to be able to go back and start all over again and just still have that preservation of what those dogs were able to pass down, to talk about the great dogs that they were able to produce and pass down, who was able to produce and pass down like their great-great-grandparents. That's preservation. When I look at a pedigree, I look at the whole pedigree, and it looks back like the 4th generation that they played with particular dogs and never got to go no further than a quarter out. 90% of the time, there was an 1/8. Because they would take it out and then they would pile their shit right back on top of the out. Knocked it out all the way down to a quarter. They're still preserving the genetics. And they're really using only the shit that's working. Not to make the papers look pretty, but the shit that's working. Like I said. I said it was Jeep. I said it was Yellow. I said it was Yellow John. I said it was Honey Bunch. You can say it about Barracuda, Lucan, Gator, Blackjack, and all the other great dogs coming off a tab. See, we done got off a Jeep and we got the direct tab. Don't want Jeep, I want tab. Okay, Prentice, I'm gonna read out Prentice card. Prentice card says, after so many years of breeding tab dogs, I look at tab as one family now. You can mix Gator, Brute, Tuffy strains together. I still see it as tab dog, but they are. They are. It's just who are they bred to? Are you breeding directly to Brute or Gator? Or are you breeding to dogs off of Brute, bred to another dog by means of Gator? Then you're still dealing with a tab dog. If you understand what I'm saying. Yes, you're still preserving. You're still preserving. Remember, it's the point is tab. You're going to have a preservation as long as, like, you put it in your own writing. Tab, produce Gator, Brute, Tuffy. They're Tuffy strains, but what are you breeding when you take those dogs and breed back into that stuff? Say Tuffy was bred to a Rascal dog. Say Brute was bred to a Mayday dog. Okay? Are you going to start filling up your Brute stuff and putting all that shit on top of it because you're not preserving the most important piece of the puzzle, which was tab? Yes, I would keep that line over there exactly the way it is. And yes, I would be adding all this other stuff, but it'd be on this side of the yard. My preservation was continue being because that was my plan. Not something I decided to do further down the line. You have to plan to make that happen and stay consistent to that. That's what we're talking about, preservating the line. It's just getting you guys to understand when we talk about preserving something to the purest of the point, I'm trying to preserve the purest part of it. The thing that got me looking at it from the giddy up. I've used enough examples. Enough examples. If I'm trying to preserve that genetic piece, I'm trying to keep the best that I see in that particular shit. And I'm going to try to maintain it. If I got to breed it to the best of the sisters, it's coming by way. We probably got the same daddy, whose mama probably came off of that shit. Same shit. But I'm trying to keep those two crossed. And if I do take it out, I'm going to pile some more shit over here, my pure shit, and breed to it. And put that out, back down there to an eighth. And the rest of my shit is still pure. Tab. Go 50-50 cross and then turn around the next breed and take that puppy came out of that 50-50 cross and go right back over there and breed to one of them type pure preserved breedings been sitting over there on the chain and breed that shit and knock that out right back down and probably get some great dogs. Because that's the purpose that I'm using this preservation of line of dogs right here. This particular part of the yard is made strictly for those type of dogs when we talk about preserving a line. Now, if that's what you're doing, then yes, you're preserving a line. A line of what? Because anybody can have a line of REDBOY GR.CH. Anybody. Anybody. What's pure about that? Unless every single dog in the REDBOY GR.CH line was purely off of those three dogs. Pure dogs, off of those three dogs, y'all done put all three of that pure shit together. That's what you're doing. That's when you say GR.CH red boy? Or are you taking that combination? Now, if you're just taking that combination, just the combination, then anybody can have that preservation. It just depends on what dog picks up the name to be able to make somebody else that has that Jeep Red Boy Rascal Cross be able to brag about it. Right? Okay. So far, I think this is my first time disagreeing with Twin. Oh, I'm sorry, look at Browsing. I think trying to keep a line so-called pure has been the downfall to most yards. Pure is no longer holding the standards. But Luke, I am in agreement with you. Okay? Listen to me. Oh, I'm in agreement with you. Your point. Okay? But it took you to get off the pure part. Luke, remember what's the story today? Preservation of a line of pure. Is it possible? Remember, that was the question. Okay? But I'm in total agreement with you. Is it possible? You just help me, because I don't believe it's possible either, Luke. So we're not in agreement. We're not in disagreement. I'm in agreement with you. Okay? Total agreement with you. I'm going to read it again so you guys understand what I'm talking about. Luke said, after so many years of breeding, okay, hold on. I lost him here for a second. Sorry about that, Luke. I got to get back. There you go. He said, so far, I think this is my first time disagreeing with Twin. I think trying to keep a line so-called pure has been the downfall to most yards. Pure is no longer holding the standards. We're not in disagreement, because I'm in total agreement with his statement. Yes, 100%. He's 100% correct. And that's the kind of part that questions the actual question of the day. The preservation of a pure line of dogs. Not kennel, of dogs. We didn't say family of dogs, but we're talking about dogs in particular. Like he said, is it possible to be able to preserve a pure line of particular dog? Tab. We're using tab. We're using yellow because we can jump from yellow to Mayday and to Barracuda, and we can keep on going down the line. Is that called preserving a line? No, not unless you're taking out the very same dogs and crossing them back into each other as you do this, and taking great dogs and keep doing this great shit. That's how it works. You can take and go, like I said, you 50-50 and turn right around, go over there and grab one of them preserved dogs and put on top of that shit, and that shit gonna go right back into the purity, because what we're playing with is the genetics, and that's what we're trying to continue to keep pure. The genetics of where it started at, and the ability to do what you seen Yellow John do when he produced Yellow, Yellow when he produced Mayday, Mayday when he produced Barracuda, Barracuda when he produced several dogs that became all winners themselves. This is the part that Luca Browsy and I agree on. Because by now, and I'm out, by now, we're not going to find that type of shit going on right there, here in 2022. Luke said it and I said it. There's no such thing as preserving pure shit while everybody's still running around saying these old ass names. There's no way we can be still matching those genetics of those particular dogs. We're not. We're not preserving the true essence of the genetics because you're not breeding them back into each other. That's as pure as you can be when you do that. If you're not doing that, it's not pure preservation. Now, you want to go with a pure reservation of going hard dogs, and that means every dog that you get, that you bred to, was a going hard dog. And you were taking going hard dogs, breeding back into going hard dogs, and next thing you know, you got a yard of going hard dogs that you breeding back into becomes your yard of going hard dogs. But at what point do you take your great dogs that you made great, they'll become your shit, and no longer going hard shit? Preserving the family name, you'd be right. Yeah, I started off preserving the going hard family name. Because that's exactly what you're doing, the family of dogs. Not particular dogs, just going hard dogs. Hopefully great dogs, good dogs that you're doing it with, because, you got something to carry. Okay? But at what point do they become your line? At what point do you sit there with a registered merit and you be the next Mayday now? His name will become the famous name and things coming off of him. And now we're talking about the dog and no more going hard shit. You can't buy way of going hard dogs. But now the dog's got your name and your attributes. And what if he becomes a registered merit? What if he becomes a registered merit? Okay, got another one here. This REDBOY JOCKO, JOCKO BT is considered as a line now. Is it safe to say that someone is preserving it as a line as long as they stay with the four-way cross? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Kingdom Strong Kennels. Kingdom Strong Kennels says, since RBJBT is considered as a line now, is it safe to say that someone is preserving it as a line as long as they stay within the four-way cross? Hey, Kingdom, this is how I see it. This is not true that anybody can do that. I mean, really, anybody can do that. When you put that many lines together and you stay within those lines, what's pure? There's nothing pure about it, except the line of dogs. Because let's break them down into individual dogs. Now let's talk about individual. REDBOY. Individual. I'm gonna take this REDBOY dog. Pure REDBOY. You know how he's pure? Dog like Chancellor, one of them kind of great dogs. Stuff coming directly off a REDBOY double bred. All right? Now that's a pure REDBOY dog. And I turn around and I breed to a pure Jeep bitch. Now this Jeep bitch is all Jeep. Remember I had one. She was 3 times off a Jeep. And I took and I bred her to a male 3 times off a REDBOY. And then I take that puppy there, right? And I bred that puppy there to a pure rascal dog. Nothing but rascal. Remember, I didn't use 3 pure bloodlines now. I got this right here, now I'm breeding into this right here. That's 3 crosses. Got 1 more cross to add. So when I add that other cross, and it's pure, that particular line that I bred, remember, I made a 4-way cross, but I used 4 pure bred line dogs. That's the only way I can see that working, Mr. Kingdom.
We did that.
Yes, we've done it. We have made those kind of ventures, but you see the difference. Remember, anybody can take a Jeep REDBOY rascal dog and breed them together, and say they're Jeep Red Boy dogs because they got the dogs in the bloodline, but I'm talking about something a little further than that. Little, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can do that. Anybody. It's real easy. Just what the results you're getting. But I want to stay and preserve a particular thing. I'm telling you now. Say I come up and got a damn ROM coming off of May 2. All right? I'm going to take that thought and say, look, I bred May 2 to a daughter that produced a grand champion male. Now he's producing winners. He's a pure May 2 dog, which makes him a pure Mayday dog, right? He's a pure dog. Now, how do we preserve that? How do we get 20 years of preserving that particular dog? You see what I'm saying? And what would that dog's name, what would it be 20 years from now? Would it be still twins, grand champion, ROM something? Or would it be somebody else's new great grand champion ROM something? Like it was with Yellow John, champion Yellow John, ROM, Yellow John dog, Red Boy dogs. Then it went from Red Boy dogs to the Red Boy, it went from Red Boy JOCKO. This by taking Yellow and breeding to a JOCKO bit. And then you came up with Yellow. Now Yellow got his own shit. And then Yellow, Grand Champion Yellow, ROM produced Grand Champion Mayday, ROM. Ain't none of this shit pure. Ain't none of this shit pure. The only thing pure is the top half. The only thing that's rocking is the genetics to make you wonder if I'm trying to preserve, what am I trying to preserve? I'm trying to preserve the top half. Because it's the one walking down the damn line. That's the shit I'm trying to preserve. And preferably directly off the shit. That's why I kept breeding the champions. I want the shit directly off the shit. If I'm gonna preserve something to use on my yard, I'm gonna make sure it's coming off the right one. Preferably, if he's got a daddy who was off a champion and grand champion, he was a registered mare, and his daddy was a grand champion, champion registered mare, and his daddy was a champion and registered mare, I'm gonna breed to that motherfucker right there. And I'm gonna try to preserve that as much as I can so I can have it 20 years from now, not using the same names, but my damn name. Preserve. Preserve. Preserve what? Okay. Mike, you gotta help me. I can't read and look at the camera. I'm trying to keep up with you guys.
Hey, my phone.
Hey, okay. Hey, the funny thing about it, Dred said, ain't nothing pure no more. He said, ain't nothing pure no more. You end up with a yard of coat. Dred, stop it. Don't give him faith, man. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Don't believe that shit. You can't believe that. You'll end up with a yard. I honestly believe you can do it. I mean, I actually told you how to do it. If you do it out, you first gotta come in here with a plan. Preservation. No, I know what I know now. Back then, I would have had a damn sperm bank full of dogs. My sperm bank would have been full with the dogs that I had that I would have loved to have sperm on. And that helps. Guys, y'all have that technology now. I must have been wasn't paying attention to that part of the game because I'm not a breeder. But boy, if I had that part of the game, I would have had shit. Mayday would have been sitting there with a whole bunch of sperm. Buck Rogers would have had a whole bunch of sperm. You understand what I'm saying? I would have been able to take any male off of Baby, and he would have been spermed up. Hell, Rod would have had all his sperm. You know what I'm saying? I breed Stone City dogs to go on hard dogs. I'm not worried about it being heavy brat or heavy Nico, so to speak. Rubber City said that. Rubber City said, I breed Stone City dogs to go on hard dogs. I'm not worried about it being heavy brat or heavy Nico, so to speak. Well, Ben, you breeding that shit like that because you know it works, because I know it works. The point that you're making is every chance I got, I would breed into a Stone City dog too. And I'm going hard. See? Sort of, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because we know. We already did the going hard Nico, going hard Yellow Buck, going hard Nico Jr. We done all that. And we just didn't do it with Brat. Brat had a legitimate brother, wasn't but two of them, Brat and little Mayday. Gainesville Kennels has got Brat and little Mayday in their dogs. And that's why they're having the good fortunes that they got. Because it's just not Brat. She had a little mate brother in there who produced good dogs too. He actually produced better than Brat. Sassy and Buck Rogers and Baby were not off of Brat. They were off of Brat's brother's bloodline. See? Mayday got his own line. That's Brat and Mayday. All day. When you take Brat and Mayday and breed Brat back into a daughter, a son of Mayday, her little mate brothers, an offspring off of that, and then you throw Stone City in there, he's right. That's what I would do. I would be doing it right here 20 years later. Yes, I would. My thing, when y'all have technology to help you guys, I would take all my good shit that I could have done, I would have had sperm on every damn single one of them. Every damn one of them. Something that y'all have access to now that I didn't take advantage of back then. Okay? And you're right, Rubber City. You gonna, as long as you know, you ain't, look, you already know, Rubber City, what's up, baby? The only way you continue doing that is because somewhere in there, it's got to be working for you. The only way Gainesville is getting as far as they is down to 20 years later now. Mayday been gone a long time. I've been gone a long time. Yet there's dogs still out there winning through going hard dogs. All right? Preserving it. The only way I understand preserving it is when it's continued doing what it was doing for me. That's the only damn way I see preserving it. It still has to be working. Like it worked for me. Like Rubber City, all these years later, he's telling you it still works for him. It don't have to be heavy, Brad. It don't have to be heavy. It just has to have the concept of doing what it does, and that's win. Just like Game did. Just like a lot of other these guys that had those dogs and won with them. Look at Browser. History, look at Browser. Says, history and studies showed me most of Mayday's best dogs were off of Daughters of Deadlift, Macho Buck. Best dogs were crossed with Boils. Well, Lukey Bronzy. Now, you know I went through 15 of Mayday's champions, okay? 15. Now, don't want to go back through them again, but this keeping your mind on something. You need to go back in there and go back into your research, okay? Because what you will find, that statement is this what you said. You said history and studies showed me most of Mayday's best dogs. You said his best dogs. So we're going to talk about them 15 champions that I pulled up their pedigrees, okay? Were off of daughters of Deadlift, Macho Buck, which at the time Macho Buck was not around, and most of them dogs, them 15 champions, didn't have no Macho Buck in them. Were crossed with Boils. Mayday's best dogs were definitely not daughters off of Deadlift. That's all. I'm gonna leave it right there. Go back through there, and unless you're talking about, because you can't be talking about Barracuda, you can't be talking about that. You know, you really can't be. It's not really many of them. You can't be talking about Twisted. Can't be talking about Annabelle. You know, can't be talking about Chanel. You know, you got to look at that again, because a lot of those dogs, you know, Deadlift was a part of it, but Deadlift came along after when we started bringing Mayday dogs into Deadlift. That's what was happening. We were taking dogs and they were breeding Deadlift into Mayday dogs. I actually had a dog off of Mayday, which was Brick, and he wasn't off of Mayday, he was off of Mayday's. Brick's mother was off of Mayday. To a Gator dog. Daddy was a Stone City dog. Now, Brick, you know, when we went into Missing Link, we ran into one of them Mayday Deadlift dogs. You know what I mean? And they were two good dogs, but they didn't impress me when Brick beat him. You know, and I can't say that they all go like that, but it just proves a point. You know, it does prove a point. And Brick has Gator in him. Double bred Gator. Actually, Brick's mama, her mother produced a grand champion and a champion, and it was her little mate brother I went 3 hours and 17 minutes with. So that tells you, when you got the little mate sister producing champion and grand champion, then you turn around and breed that in the Mayday, then you're going to get those kind of dogs. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's still REDBOY, Stone City, which is yellow and buck, and Mayday, still, which is yellow and Hollingsworth. This shit worked. To me, it worked better than the Boils shit. I done seen some good Boils dogs crossed with Mayday, but I ain't seen nothing better than a Mayday Stone City dog. And you throw some REDBOY on top of that, like I did when I took Buck Rogers, who was Mayday, had Jeep in him. Down there, all the Jeep litter mate down there, and took that and bred it to the Beetlejuice and Pretty Mama. But there's more Jeep REDBOY. On top of Pretty Mama being all down there REDBOY, with the back end of it being a lot of Stubby Fields, Buddy, Grand Champion, Z-Ball, all kind of shit in the back side of it. But when you look at her pedigree, you won't never see it until you get way back there around 8 or 9 that there was something in her other than REDBOY. Because just to look at her pedigree, looking straight up, you would say every dog off of her she was off of was REDBOY, when it's not true. Go back there in the mates, you're gonna see Grand Champion Art and everybody else back there, Z-Bo, W. Fields, Buddy, all that shit. They just took that and bred it to a pure REDBOY dog and then kept putting the REDBOY dog on top of that shit. And that's where Champion Pretty Mama come from. I took and bred that shit across with that Stone City Mayday shit and produced that litter. Them 4 puppies. Just 4 puppies. All 4 of them puppies was good dogs. All 3 males. There was 1 but 3 males. All match dogs. two of them would have been champions or either grand champions if it don't be for the law taking them. And they were the best ones. But it works, okay? Now, when we say these things, where was my mindset when I was breeding them? Was I breeding to the papers or was I breeding to the dog? I was breeding to the damn dog. I got a champion Pretty Mama being bred to champion Beetlejuice being bred back into a yellow buck, Mayday cross, Brat's litter mate brother being bred to a daughter of, Mayday. Brat's brother was bred to a Stone City dog. He had a daughter. And we took that daughter and bred to a Stone City yellow buck dog. And that's what created them Buck Roger dog. And then we took them two dogs and bred that shit across, man. That shit worked. But we were using dogs that was working. Shit, they took baby and took her and bred it to a Maximo. Got shit out of Maximo, but didn't get shit out of Orca, and she was bred to both. Okay? But Orca was the champion. See what I'm saying? Both dogs are with Barracuda. So it's just, you got to be breeding good dogs. Don't be breeding them damn papers, because no, you give me the papers once I see I got a good dog, then I'm going to study the hell out the papers. I ain't going to be breeding to a damn dog that just look good on paper. I don't need that kind of dog. All right? That's how I look at it. I look at it in a different manner. That's why I can go deep into the preservation and be like, go to an angle, what I call the going hard angle. It gets all the way down to the bottom line when you guys saying pure. Maybe that'll stop y'all from saying pure. Or maybe it'll stop you guys from going Red Boy G Rascal Cross when anybody can have that. It's not a particular preservation unless you're preserving a line of dogs that are producing, or they're not. So what? Ain't that how it go? You can have a G Red Boy Rascal dog, but he ain't got no name and he ain't done shit, then so what? Don't mean anything until they step up. You might have a littermate brother over there, but that ain't you. The genetic makeup might be far different than yours. So why would I want to breed to you when I can go right over there and breed to his brother that's the winner? Maybe he got him locked away, but guess what? I would still wouldn't want to breed to you if there's a male out there that's better than you. Not for the blood, but for the genetics. Lefty. I don't think at this point anyone is re-innovating the wheel here. There's been so many breedings, you can get a good idea of what works. And you sure can. It's just getting it to work and then putting it out there and seeing if it really does work. See, when you say getting it to work, we have to put the emphasis on getting it to work. Remember what I'm saying? They all go. But can they all win? You want to keep a good line, then you got to keep the line why it is the way it is. And the only way it's gotten this far is because it was winning, not because everybody was matching up good papers. Something made this shit work. I'm paying attention to the only shit that works. I'm looking at the shit that's working, not the brother, not the sister, or the cousins, or the fact that it came from a particular yard. No, give me the winner, the great one, the good one. I'll pay the start fee. You understand what I'm saying, fellas? I'm trying to preserve, when I'm looking at it before I even breed it, I'm looking at it. If I like it and I got a good cross in there, then yes, it's my right to preserve it. Like I said, I would have 2 points to my yard. I would have my preservation part of the yard, and then I just had a yard. But my preservation, my preservation is being used in particular. And that's the hardest part of my yard that I would be dealing with. Because the importance of what happens has to happen over there. I can dip and dab over there on this side of the yard. But the most important part of my yard is that yard over there on the preservation part of the yard. Because what I'm not trying to lose, like the guys keep saying that they're losing because they're not doing the right thing. And that right thing is you have to breed to the great one. And if the great one cannot reproduce like his daddy or his grandfather or his great-grandfather or his great-great-grandfather, then genetic-wise, he can help your preservation because he can't throw shit. He might have been a great one, but he ain't throwing shit. So I'm not gonna use him to preserve any damn thing. Yeah, how good he was, he ain't throwing shit. See, y'all go breed the dogs that ain't throwing shit and then just take the papers and just because. That ain't taking you nowhere. You got them damn papers to concentrate on what you're doing because you know how I know they ain't gonna get you nowhere? Because I bred to him and he didn't throw me shit. That means I got rid of all that shit. Because it didn't make my team. Give a damn how it was bred. It didn't make my team. If you don't make my team, you don't get bred. So that's an elimination of that. So he would have been, there's no preservation in that. All that got wiped out during the schooling. Okay? That's just how that worked. You got to understand that's how it works. You know, some of you guys have to understand when there's a difference between my preservation. Again, guys, I'm speaking basically my way of thinking and how my approach is. My approach. So that I can understand my approach to this. Remember, I actually said in the beginning, I hear so many guys talking the pure shit. And before we get started, let's get an understanding that we understand that there's a big difference between a Kobe line and a Jeep line. Remember that distinction? And then I broke a lot of this stuff down to get y'all to understand. When y'all listen to my frame of mind, remember it's my frame of mind. It's not based on everybody else's opinion, but based on my frame of mind, even when I was breeding dogs. Remember, I was breeding these dogs. If I was going to preserve a going hard line, I'm telling you how I would have done it. And the way I would have done it is the way the guys that are doing it are still getting in and winning with it. Why do I say I would do anything different than those guys and they're taking their shit and they're winning with it? I would be doing what they're doing. Give them the credit where it's due. It's not a going hard dog to a good down point. First champions and grand champions start coming up out that shit, it's their shit, not mine. That's when the names changed. That's when yellow, Mayday was no more a yellow dog no more. He was now Mayday. Mayday the dog, Mayday the line. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know. This is what you're trying to preserve. Everything that created him was already the shit. With the potential to produce more shit, then I'm trying to preserve that. Once I see it's working on my yard, then everything good coming out of my yard, I'm trying to preserve it to get the next stage. You know what I mean? Because each time those brackets, they move up. You know what I'm talking about, the pedigree. Boom, 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 boom. My pedigree's got to look just like the goddamn start that when I first started with this great dog. My pedigree has to maintain what this dog has given me. My job to preserve that this pedigree continues to do what this dog does. Champions produce champions. Formulas produce winners. Winners produce great dogs. Great dogs make history. Yes, sir. James Jones says, because in the attempt to keep a line pure, most guys are not preserving proven dogs, but just names on papers. Luca Browsing, Man, you done already tagged in. Now we got to tag in James Jones. Because James Jones has made a very good point. I'm in agreement with James Jones. I'm in agreement with James Jones and Luca Browsing and Dread. Make sure that shit's working before you try to preserve anything. Hey, that you would think that they would understand that much, right? You would think the importance of preserving anything is the standards is already being set because it's still a plan that has to be executed. If you play it by ear, you'll never catch it. You gotta play it by eye and know it. At the end of the day, no American Pit Bull Terrier is pure. We have never had any questions about that part, my friend. And I'm gonna tell you, Mr. AQ, a pure pit bull to me is not a pet bull. If you understand what I'm saying. You know, a pure pit bull, I ain't gonna even put the game dog on the end of that. I'm just saying a pure pit bull is not a pet bull. I think that's what has caused us the problems that we have today when we started putting them on videos and everybody started bringing them crazy ass dogs in their house and they start distinguishing a pet bull with a pit bull. And the pit bull is paid for. You know what I mean? Hey Luke, I want to read this one here, Luke. This is Luke at Browsing. He said, I would do different breedings if I was focused on pure dogs. People often email me, you got anything pure? I often respond, no sir, we breed for athletes. Resume speaks for itself. I know how to breed my line. You see that? So I said, you know how to breed his line? Right. But Luke, let's stay on subject. You understand? Let's stay on subject. The subject is the preservation of a line. That's all. Gotta get back on that because is it possible? We've already agreed that it's not. So I can understand your mind frame is like mine. You know, unless I'm doing it, if I want a pure reservation, if I wanted to preserve a particular part of my line on how I put it down, it would be a plan that I would use and execute and stick to. Now, if I was still doing dogs and I wanted to have them 2 lines of yards of dogs, yes, it would have been definitely that. There wasn't too many dogs on the yard that I had for stud dogs outside of Mayday. If I was to choose to preserve Mayday, then I would have been banking on taking Mayday and bringing back to his daughter Day. Or going to find that puppy that when we bred Mayday back to his mama. And go get him. And either making the part of the game plan or make him part of the no plan. You see what I'm saying? Why would I breed the Day? Day was a champion. She's a bitch. I'd have took one of them puppies and ran right back over there and bred the baby. You see what I'm saying? Or I took one of Elrod and took Elrod and I'd have took Elrod and bred the Day. See, I'm preserving. Now, what do I do with all those puppies right there? I'm going to run through their ass and make damn sure that they become the dogs that their parents were. Because that's the only way we're going to ever talk about them. You don't talk about nobody's. Not on my yard. So if I'm talking about it, you know what I'm saying? I'm preserving a line, then these are the kind of dogs that's going to be sitting over there on that side of the yard. Every damn one of them is a purebred of that line. And will continue to jump like that as I'm going in here, pulling out great dogs that's producing, then I'm going to continue doing this straight on down the line. If I can get away with doing it 20 years, I could produce a pure line of that very same shit, as long as it's fucking winning. But other way would I continue if it ain't? Does it got to look good on paper? No, I am not a breeder. I'm trying to preserve a particular thing here. I'm using the best of the best of the best, all the way down the line. So when I say it's been preserved, you're going to look at that pedigree and see a formula all over that shit. Remember who we talking about, who we talking to. My way of thinking, what I would do. Remember, I'm preserving with a formula that I can see clearly, know how to use. And my standards is not standards, it's expectations. Expectations that my formula has to work for me to preserve what I'm doing. And if it's not, then I'm not trying to preserve nothing that's not working. Red Bobby, hey baby, what's up, man? Rack City, what's up? Wealthy Studies, what's up, bro? Lefty, what's up, man? Scott Farm, what's up, bro? King and Strong, Big Rules, what's up? Arrowhead, what's up? Working B, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Dreadlock, good to see you back in here, man. Man. Brenda's Card, talk to you earlier. What's up, AQ Henry? Good to see you, bro. Banjo Dog, see you over there with the shades. Thanks you guys for coming out, man. Thank you guys for coming out. Trying to read some of this stuff. Arrowhead. Arrowhead said, but different breeders do it differently. I just have the old school philosophy. But like I said, it needs an outcross eventually to bring back the bug, the baby. Hey, listen to me. Remember when I just said I'll take a dog and put an out on it? Right over there where I preserved it and stack it right on top, because at some point you got to go out. On the smart, remember that what I tell you about that reservation of dogs over there? Yeah, at some point when I go out, guess what? I still have the ability to pile that shit over there. I got a champion over here. I just bred his daughter and made her out with his daughter. Now when his daughter had those puppies, guess what my plans are? My plans are going to be, because now it's a 50-50 out on the daughter. Now I'm going to take that puppy out of that daughter, 50-50 cross, and I'm going to go right over there and breed her right back over there to that damn grand champion, who is a preserved, purebred grand champion of that line. You see? And I'm going to stick that on top of it. What did it just do to that 50-50 cross? It just knocked it down to a 3 and 1 out where you get your match dog, didn't it? Guys understand that. If you don't, that means you're not a breeder. Especially one that breeds for match dogs. 50-50s and 3 ins and 1 out give you the biggest possibilities of having great dogs. And they give you the possibility when you're doing it the right way to get great producing dogs. Let me say that and say that with the understanding that when you guys go back and re-listen to this tape, because you're going to need to. A lot of you guys need to go back and listen to the conversation. Because see, a lot of y'all come in with that broad thinking. I've seen so many of y'all kind of fly off track and forgot the preservation fact of what the conversation was about. Can it be done? Was the question. But all you guys, if you look at the poll says yes. But everybody in the chat room basically saying no. And what did I say at the beginning? What did I say my vote was? No. That's why I said you go back and you look at this tape, this show, and think about everything that came out my mouth. And pay attention to what I was saying. There's a lot of information in what I was saying because, see, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to get you guys to pick up on what I'm saying and what I'm talking about where you guys get a better understanding. I covered several things in that. Several things. Address several things. Remember, it's all about can it be done? Look at your poll. What did your poll say? Poll say yeah. Poll say yeah. But look at you guys, look at the chat. Guys, pick up the chat. After listening to me, I'm hearing more no's than I'm seeing on the poll that there were yeses. You know what I mean? But good conversation. Good show. I'm going to cut this one short tonight because really it gives us all something to think about. Does anybody got something out there they consider pure? Does anybody out there that consider their stuff purebred? And what does that mean? It doesn't work. Mike, we wrapping it up, baby.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's really not much that I haven't went over. I think I did more getting you guys to understand the definition of purebred. And the definition, can I have an outcross and still have a purebred dog? No. The purebred dog is what you're using to make those, you know, that you want to have an outcross with. But the purebred dog is the one that you're using, is the preserved dog that you want to make work. Using it as pure as you can keep it, as long as it's working. Remember, Yellow John, the yellow, the MAYDAY, Barracuda and his kids. You know, any other dog just coming by way of that stuff, like Stone City, coming on down the line, they're ROMs. You know what I'm saying? Those are purebred dogs. And it makes up the Stone City family of dogs, the Hardcore family of dogs, the Going Hard family of dogs. You know, everybody has their flavor. But one thing for damn sure, the names that I'm rocking was producing dogs that they can win with. That's the bottom line. And that's all you guys is, the preserving part is they got it down pat because they're able to continue doing it. I'm not doing it, but the line is still able to continue doing what it does. Maybe based on the way I had it set up, because May 2 would have been the best source. Me crossing the brat and our little May brothers back into each other. All it did is made the MAYDAY stuff even pure. And I didn't do it by breeding two brothers and sisters together. I used it by using their offspring to preserve. Okay? Good night, though, fathers. I hope y'all got that. Twin and I also speaking about two different eras as well. He was out of the dogs when Macho Butt Boys hit the scene. But in the glory days of MAYDAY dogs, when Twin speaking about MAYDAY in that era, listen. And you're right, Luke, you're right. You are so right, again. And in that era, remember, you are in the era ahead of me now. Remember, they had to be able to take our shit that we was doing back then to get Macho Buck in the position that he was in, which became your era. And you're so perfectly right about that. And you need to, and the people in this era need to listen to you, Luke. Clearly. Because you are the upstep, not me. I'm the backstep. I'm the old. You are the new. There's a lot of knowledge you carry out there, bro. Stop hiding. I mean, you gotta talk, man. I'm gonna come see you, Luca Brasi. Because you're perfectly right about that. That Macho Buck stuff did. And I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you what was going on back then with me. When it came to that. The Kennels weren't being trusted, man. We just could not trust evolution, bro. Before there was a Chico Lopez, there was an evolution, man. And evolution, you know, they were like the in-between between Stone City and Victor. And this is where the saga began. They just so happened to be that middle party that was able to capitalize off of those two kennels coming together and producing those dogs, what later became the Macho Buck dogs. But those dogs were branded. Those dogs was branded. Those dogs, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I would not pick an evolution dog over a Stone City dog, never. I'm sorry. Because I'm watching Stone City do shit. I ain't seen evolution doing nothing. Okay? Just like I say with Chico. It's the same game plan, not knocking those guys, but no, I can't really give the props in an area where I give the guys who were successful with Macho Buck dogs more credit than I give with the guys who actually produced Macho Buck. Because those dogs was done on the concept of branding and selling dogs. Our dogs was bred on the concept of winning, period. Because without us winning, these dogs wouldn't be shit. Okay? On that note, guys, get a chance, go back. Newcomers, go back. Look at what I talked about. Start taking it a little slower and listen to what's actually being said and a lot of this stuff, okay? Because there's a message in there and a lot of answers in there. I guarantee you, when you go back and listen to the shit, even when it comes down to Luke. See, me and Luke was on the same track the whole time, but how did we miss the bus station, the train station at the same time when we would ride at the same time? Well, because he had a slower stop. You know what I mean? But we was on the same train the whole time. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta slow down, because we on the same track, Luke. Definitely on the same track. Like you said, the errors were different. Like you were saying about the purebred stuff. You know, he's right. Like Dred was saying, you're right. Now, the young guys, go back to the tape and find out what they're right about. This will help you when you out here trying to buy somebody's damn puppies or out here trying to breed to somebody's shit. While some of you guys is just out here flinging more papers than wins. I'm sorry. You know, paper don't mean shit until you're winning. You know, keep your secrets, but win. All right? We're talking about dogs that made history. We're talking about dogs that we're trying to preserve for the future, to try to maintain. I mean, especially if you got one on your yard and have that opportunity to have a dog that can produce and become an all-win, you know, and have an opportunity to go down in history with those dogs such as Mayday, Yellow, Red Boy, Tab, Jeep, Honey Bunch, Awesome Baby, Yellow Buck, 357. I mean, I can just rat them all off. I mean, I'm saying names, but there's so many of them out there. And some of them out there then fell to the wayside because of lack of preservation. And the lack of preservation had a lot to do with the lack of matching those dogs. I'm sorry. When you start doing that and start playing with them papers, then you took a big chunk out of the game. Big chunk. So on that note, thank you guys for coming out. Before I go, you know, can I get some of this right here? Y'all believe in what I'm talking about? If you understand what I'm talking about, I don't care to give me a couple of thumbs and shit. If you like what I was talking about, I'll take a couple roses. Cause I'm gonna throw, here's my roses to you. Here's my salute for y'all listening, and thank you guys for the ones who stepped up and we had a chance to finally talk to the chat. Very interesting things were said in the chat. We need more of that. You're surprised that, you know, everybody think it would be hard to talk to Twin. Twin, don't keep it where everybody understands. You go back and listen to this stuff. Remember, I'm a Marine, so I'm gonna be a harsh teacher. You know, I'm not mean, but I'm harsh. And I'm strictly, directly to the point. If you take the things that you know and then try to make sense of what I'm saying, then you just learn some more shit. Remember, there's nothing you can teach me because I can't use it. There's a lot I can teach you that you can use. Just listen to what I'm saying, diagnose it, analyze it, break it down, and then kind of twine it into your way of thinking. You'll be surprised. You might understand what the fuck I was talking about tonight. And still, look at your yard different. Some of you guys, you know, you just got dogs. You know, but let's start getting the right dogs. You got the right dogs, then you know what's next. And we want to be hearing from you because y'all the future. Yo, bro, pump that shit up, man. Let me just knock my motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because the day is Friday. Hope everybody have a good weekend. Fellas, understand what we talked about today. Take advantage of what I'm talking about. And y'all got my email. Y'all got my phone number. It's on the videos out there. Go find them. You got questions, get in touch with me. I used to have a lot of you guys getting in touch with me. Y'all getting quiet out there. Make me think y'all ain't doing nothing out there. Y'all ain't doing nothing out there? Then what y'all doing in here? Go find you something to do. And in the meanwhile, until we see each other again on Tuesday, always, always, scratch the wind. Yeah!
Don't let them waves kill you, boy. Don't let them waves kill you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
My peoples, love you guys, man. Shout out to all of you. I love them roses, as always, fellas. Y'all them niggas, man. Y'all just them biggest, bro. You know what I'm saying? Can't get no bigger than y'all biggest. All right? Y'all dog men, dog women. And one day, man, I swear, man, I just know one day, one of you guys gonna walk up in here with a grand champion, and I'm gonna be over there on one knee with your dog under my arm with a picture. I'm gonna make sure you have a copy and I got a copy. And we're gonna hope one day that you'll be able to sit down and talk about me. Give me a chance to talk about you before I go. Dream for you, dream for me. Sure, let's make them happen, y'all. On top. Headbangers. Headbanger, headbanger, yeah, yeah.
Y'all enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy your weekend, fellas.
See y'all Tuesday. Talk shit Tuesday. Don't forget about Talk Shit Tuesday. Hey, man.
Bad bitch right there, y'all. Yes, sir. Guys, don't forget to hit those like button. New guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Hit that notification in case when we on Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 o'clock. Way to go, Lefty. Thank you, baby. Man, I can't wait.
Hey, Greg, check your email. Greg, check your email. right, Vinny. Be safe, bro. think it might be time for me to have to get me a new mic, man. You know what I'm saying? Studio mic been definitely taking the beat, you know. She been good to me for a lot of years. But I think it's time for a change. Hey Dread, the numbers in the code definitely don't represent the chat by the end, do they? But you know what, Dre? We kind of like figured that. That's why we put the poll there. Because we actually have been talking about it. And just between me and him, we was laughing because we was just still tripped out to hear people be talking about purebred, REDBOY, purebred, JOCKO, Eli, and it's like, man, them dogs been dead. Now how the hell is they having purebred anything out here? That sound like a bunch of shit, bruh. And then when they were throwing the Kobe shit up in there, when you know Kobe and Boudreaux, those are just the names of the people, you know, the breeders. So we thought it would be good for a good conversation, and it actually turned out pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully we got a lot of things straightened out tonight. You know, because when you got that many people who start out one way and it changes their mind in the end, they can have that conversation somewhere else and always rely back on what they heard tonight, you know what I mean? And maybe that'll change the way people do things and how they talk about it when they talk about it, you know what I'm saying? right, people. It's Friday night. I got to go change my clothes and get ready to hit them streets. Until then, for everybody who watches this video to this point here, y'all make sure y'all hit them like buttons. For all the new people, hit those subscribe buttons. And know that Talk Shit Tuesday. We'll see you then. And we really appreciate everybody who be watching. You know what I'm saying? And look forward to seeing more new faces. Until then, y'all keep scratching. I gotta give it to you one more time. Gotta give it to you one more time. Well, fellas, I'm finna close down the parking lot until Tuesday. Everybody have a beautiful weekend. And remember, we love you. Peace.